KXSF LP San Francisco is what you're listening to, 102.5 FM. And this is KXSF Live. This is our weekly program that we have musicians on to play some music 3 to 4 p.m. every Sunday. I'm your host, Mitch Rocket. I'm joined in the studio today by E.G. Phillips. Let's see how those mics are working over there.
Hey, this is E.G. Phillips.
Yeah, maybe pull that one closer to you.
All right. How's this?
That's better, yeah. And how's the guitar sounding? Let's get a little more of that.
This is the guitar and the voice together.
All right, I'm going to get those a little closer to you. But while I'm doing that, why don't you just introduce yourself and say who you are and what your music's about.
Yeah, so my name is E.G. Phillips. I'm a singer-songwriter based out of San Francisco here. I am the sole proprietor and, alas, sole member of the fake band Ducks with Pants. This has been an ongoing, I guess, running gag for some years now. It's my branding. It's how you can find me on the internet, duckswithpants.com. My music you could describe as sort of a jazz-infused Americana. Think Bob Dylan with flatted fifths. Somebody else also once described my music as lounge music somewhere between Tom Waits and They Might Be Giants. And, aside from the usual singer-songwriter crowd you might associate my type of music with, there is also an outsized influence of Doctor Who in the various compositions. An amusing game you can play if you find yourself in need of that sort of amusement is to play Spot the Doctor Who reference in the song. I also have a degree in geography, and that sometimes has some impact in the whole mishigash.
Excellent. Well, I hope people will play along. Maybe we'll even have some questions about it at the end of a quiz, so pay attention. So before we get started, I just want to let you know that KXSF Live is supported by Paceline Law, the Bay Area's lawyer for bike people. So if you've been injured in a bike or pedestrian accident and you need legal help, Paceline Law is on your side. For more information, you can visit pacelinelaw.com. KXSF would like to thank Paceline Law for supporting San Francisco Community Radio and KXSF Live. All right, ready to jump on into it?
Yeah, so I figured I'd play either songs that are from my upcoming EP. The EP is called Tricks of the Light. You may figure out why throughout the course of the proceedings. And as far as the Doctor Who reference for this song, it is hidden in plain sight. The song is called From the Corner of My Eye, with apologies to William Blake. Tramping briskly through the boreal forest, stippled by blissful dusting of snow, the stillness out here is scarcely broken by the whisper of underbrush under my soles. What's that I think I spotted? Is that a tiger I spied from the corner of my eye? Glimpsing the pattern of her striped mantle shatters my apathy and leaves me in awe. Such sinewy strength and dreadful splendor, she could snap me in two with her jaws. Don't want her to startle, so I watch the petrified from the corner of my eye. I want so much to meet her gaze, stare deep into each iris of black, and the amber that surrounds them be drawn in and become trapped, till I felt the pulse of the prey she's ensnared. Know the jungles and wilderness she's roamed, and she will hear the songs my heart carries and understand what it's like to be so alone. She does not pounce, she does not roar. We share the suspension of a moment of time before she bounds off between the trees, propelled by my limbs out of her sight. And I am left to wonder, was that a trick of the light from the corner of my eye. All right.
From the corner of my eye is the name of that one, right?
Yep, from the corner of my eye. This next one is called The Light You Reflect. 'A hunter spied Artemis bathing with nymphs in the forest. She turned him into a stag, even though it'd been an accident. He found himself charmed and spellbound and ripped apart by his own hounds, or so goes the myth. The mother of Mesaline promised to marry a Scottish king on the condition he never witness her bathing the three offspring. And he broke his vow and saw her mermaid form. She took the children to a distant shore, and her daughter grew up to the exact same thing. Oh, there's nature and nurture, there's volition and reflex. There's what's hardwired into that damn double helix. The light you reflect is like a special effect. It defines in my mind an image I cannot forget. Whether a deliberate attempt to entice or a byproduct of your passing by, my eyes get directed towards you. Light we reflect is like it's connect, and I'm sad what they said made you so upset. Sometimes when the neurons fire, really feels like they're on fire, and we're subject to our response. Something like that, anyways. Yeah.
The light you reflect.
The light you reflect, yes.
Was there like a retelling of the Crane Wife in there? Or is that a different fairy tale that has similar aspects?
So, actually, no, the retelling of the Crane Wife is a different song altogether. That's actually a song that will be a future recording. Now, this is there's a retelling there of the myth of Actaeon and Artemis from Ovid's Metamorphosis, as well as the story of Mesaline, which is an old French folk tale, I guess you would say, and it also has its origins in a story from Scotland. So, yes, if goddesses and fae folk have difficulty with the fact that they reflect light, what hope do the rest of us have? That is the title of my next song that I'm releasing, my next single, as we dribble these things out, as is the fashion these days, as Spotify encourages us to do. And so that will be out May 14th, and I have what I will call a pre-release show on May 10th over at Bazaar Cafe. I have a residency over at Bazaar where I play on a monthly basis on second Saturdays. And I invite other songwriters to come out. In this case, I'll have Rue Harrigan, who hails from the Jersey Shore and has been compared to Phoebe Bridgewaters, and also Riley Francis, who lists among her influences Lumineers. And we'll be each doing our own sets and then doing a Songwriters in the Round. And as part of the package deal, for each of these residency shows I give it a theme. The theme is meant to entice and cajole the audience into coming out, to grab their attention, hopefully in some ways. I've done various different themes. I've done a dark folk night back in September, and then I did love songs as sort of a Valentine thing in October for that residency show. The literary core bard night, literary core being a genre I made up. And then
which I will say that one was very fitting for the folks, Ants Fujinaga, and I can't remember the other one, but definitely it fits you and it fits Ants for sure.
I'm surprised you forgot it was Stephanie Strange.
Of course, who was on KXSF Live back in February.
Yes. Semi-responsible for the fact Stephanie came out here.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, she was a great performer. Yeah.
She hosted me a couple times in Portland, and once I started doing the residency show at Bazaar, I figured I should return the favor, and she put together quite the tour for herself based on that little show in Bazaar, including the stop here. Anyway, the show for May 10th, this coming Saturday, I was sort of searching around. I always try and do something that ties in loosely with the songs I'm releasing, and I decided, well, what the heck, The Light You Reflect. That's a good theme. Songs on mindfulness and self-introspection is sort of the tagline there. And, I think most songwriters can say their songs are introspective. As for the mindfulness thing, well, let's just say I come across my knowledge of the subject honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's definitely something that people are more and more thinking about. I've definitely found it cripping in my songwriting, too, in a way that definitely didn't. When I was first introduced to mindfulness, I was like, what is this? I don't want to do this.
Yes.
I've learned over the years that maybe it is helpful.
Yeah. Well, cognitive behavioral therapy does have its, shall we say, nuances that are a little less than fun in terms of all the acronyms you need to memorize. But mindfulness is a good practice in terms of observing your own thoughts and patterns and so forth.
Right.
Anyway, to continue on, the next piece I have of an old E.G. Phillips standby. This is a song that I kind of think exists in two forms. There's the version I released as part of my album At Home at Sea. It's the opening track. It actually contains a chorus that was recorded at the old Lost Church location over on Cap Street.
Oh, cool.
But it's a very raucous type of ensemble for that version. But when I first started playing this song one Thanksgiving, and clearly had birds on the brain, and began as a much more mellow tune, and I figured my motivation in part for this whole EP that I'm releasing was to get this alternate version out there. So this is a song that is my attempt to rehabilitate the reputation of a bird that has been much maligned by a poem. It's called the Albatross Song, Mellow-like. The bowerbird is quite creative when it comes to decoration. Starlings follow simple rules that dictate their murmurations, but wanton salt marsh sparrows and curious little chickadees. I know there's only one companion for me. When you're with an albatross. Don't you know you can't get lost, 'cause you're never truly lost when you are at home at sea. Does your restless spirit wander yet, get hopelessly attached? You're barely bound to this world, yet you dread it's bound to collapse if Noah sent you from his ark to fetch branches from a tree. Might you not return, just drift perpetually? Well, when you're with an albatross, don't you know you can't get lost, 'cause you're never truly lost when you are at home at sea. Ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ah. In the Straits of Magellan, rounding the Cape of Good Hope, death and disillusionment will gamble on a ghost ship for your soul. No, no. When you're with an albatross, don't you know you can't get lost, 'cause you're never truly lost when you are at home at sea.
I never know whether to clap at the end of these because it's just us two here. So maybe I'm not
Yes.
going to do it because it feels, I don't know. When there's more of us here, when we have a sound guy too, it's like, oh, okay, that's at least two people clapping.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to simulate the full appreciation level that one would hope to experience.
Indeed. Well, hopefully all of you out there in Radioland are clapping. That's a lovely song. It's one of the first ones I heard of yours.
Yeah. It's like I said, it feels like a song that exists in two different forms. I really wanted to make sure that alternate version got out there. To continue on with the avian theme, I have this next song, which was, believe it or not, inspired by that great philosopher Tracy Jordan, who once mused, "I'm sorry it took me so long to respond to you, but I was just thinking how weird it is that we eat birds." This is called The Flesh of Birds. Watch a movie as it plays in reverse. It all makes its own sort of sense. Broken shards bring up to form a wine glass. Dig a man up from the earth, then he comes to life. Entrust an orchid into her care. Return to a discolored, wilted nightmare. She shrugs her shoulders and flips back her hair. What is the use in owning a flower that doesn't thrive on its own? On a planet of feast and famine, it's course so perverse. We subsist on a diet of half-empty words, the milk of human kindness and the flesh of birds. Buy her a snow globe as a keepsake. Enjoy her delight as she gives it a shake. See the enchantment slip from her face. Before the whirlwind she's created has even settled at all. She's posing for art classes when we first meet. I sketch out a portrait in turquoise and green. My choice is perplexing. What does this mean? It was an instinct. It was an impulse. Those colors chose me. On a planet of feast and famine, its course so perverse. We subsist on a diet of half-eaten words, the milk of human kindness and the flesh of birds. Watch her red tail wheel around in the sky, how its wings harness the air to power its flight. Yet the shadow it casts is a menacing sight. Awareness embedded in our subconscious that allowed our ancestors to survive on a planet of feast and famine. Its course so perverse. We subsist on a diet of half-murmured words, the milk of human kindness and the flesh of birds.
Excellent. I really like that one. That's
Yeah.
your most recent, right?
Well, no, that's the it's one I put out.
It's been superseded.
It's been superseded. Yes, the flow. You know, it's hard to keep up these days when you're on a monthly release cycle. No, that was the one I released back in March. Part of my the theme of the song, the show that preceded it was Cinematic Lamentations. Though I'd really hoped to put it together as a show that was bird themed, but turned it out to be kind of a tall order. Though I'm trying again. Yeah, we'll talk about the most recent song in a bit. But that was
right.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's also one of Oscar's favorites. If you know Oscar from Bizarre Cafe.
Oscar Plisga.
Yes.
Actually, we're gonna have. I'm glad you mentioned him. We're actually gonna have him on the show next week.
Ah.
Yeah, it's not on the board even. I just ran into him the other day and said, "Well, we have an opening." Someone had moved their show from the 11th to June, so yeah, Oscar Plisga, aka Lonely Dingo.
Or sometimes the social dingo, depending upon how he's feeling.
Right, exactly. I think the music still says Lonely Dingo, at least where I see it. So.
Yeah. Oscar's great.
Yeah.
He also does kind of jazzy stuff too. But I played that one time at Bizarre, and he said, "I think that's my new favorite song of yours."
Cool.
But yeah, I'm really proud of how these all turned out on the album. This is one of my has been one of my ambitions that I decided to indulge myself in. Well, first off, there's a lot of people who tell me that my song sounds cinematic in nature. And so I thought I would take some particular soundtracks that I'm fond of and use those as reference tracks. In particular, sort of an obscure one, but John Zorn, he has a soundtrack for an animated short called The Rain Horse, where the instrumentation is a piano, cello, and upright bass. And I decided to use that as sort of what I wanted the bass instrumentation for this particular project to sound like.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I also thought, I'm a real fan of Carter Burwell, with his soundtrack for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and John Brion from Being John Malkovich and those sorts of things. And so I got in touch with a fellow over in Berkeley, Noel Bronzini, who I'd met some years back. And I first met him at a Music Expo conference where he was demonstrating recording a string quartet over a couple of sessions. And so I got in touch with him, and he scored a track of mine that had been recorded as a cover by Samantha Margaret, who used to be up here in the Bay Area but is now down in Los Angeles. But she played one of the EG Fest shows. Maybe we'll talk about that a bit later. But I encouraged her, as I encourage all my EG Festeteers to do, to go ahead and record the song. She did a piano and voice track, and then I asked Noel to score some parts for that, and he added a cello and a trumpet. And that was nice. That was a track called Sundays Made for Loving. But I always wanted to do a larger project with him, so I got in touch with him for this. And as it happened, I got two producers and two arrangers for the price of one. He and his next-door neighbor, Noel's from Argentina, mind you, but his next-door neighbor, Felipe Beda, known as Cigar Box Man, also joined in on the project. And so they came up with these wonderful arrangements, and then we went into the studio over at Airship Laboratories in Richmond and had an improvised piano part, an upright bass, laid down some tracks on top of the guitar, and then some cello tracks, as well as a little bit of flute and clarinet that they managed to persuade me were necessary to the overall.
I liked them, so I'm with them.
All right. Yeah, no,
of course, I've never heard them without either. But
yeah, but yeah, it was a fun project to do. Not a cheap one, but
so it goes.
But I like the way it turned out. I am talking with somebody else about doing something else that's of a similar nature in terms of fulfilling a long-time ambition based on a particular artist that I admire. But maybe we'll talk about that a bit later, or maybe people can subscribe to my Patreon and get the inside scoop. I am working on another project now that's slightly different in its nature. While this is Tricks of the Light, the new project is called Signals in the Dark, and decided to use Miles Davis's In a Silent Way as sort of the inspiration, as well as some other tracks by Dave Douglas and Charles Lloyd and the like. But much more jazz fusion-y type of feel with occasional oddball things like.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah,
definitely a fan of Miles Davis. I mean, the next hour of the show is called Mitch's Brew, so that comes from him as well.
Yes.
In a Silent Way, I think, was the album right before that, right?
Yeah, that was. Yeah. And then he did a whole bunch of other fusion-y type stuff after. But yeah, In a Silent Way is definitely one of those. Sort of hard to describe your relationship with it, but it seems almost like, in a way, sacred music.
Yeah.
But this album, or EP, as the length dictated, is called Tricks of the Light, and that owes in part to that reference at the beginning, the corner of my eye, but that was actually a fix to the song that I did once. I sort of had a hole in the lyrics that I just wasn't quite happy with that last verse until I decided it was going to be part of this project, and it was worth sticking in a reference once again to this phrase. But in point of fact, aside from the fact I do have a large enough catalog that gives me the luxury of sort of organizing these things as I see fit and coming up with themes that I think will work, I had this one particular song, which is the derivation of the title track, or the title of the album, which is something I often end up doing, is finding a line from the song, that a song that's part of the overall ensemble, and saying that works. Like, Fish from the Sky, my first album, wasn't quite a line, but it definitely alludes to the Fish song. And then Alien from an Alternate Earth, of course, comes from the refrain of the Octopus song, and that sort of thing. But in this case, I have a song which, once again, owes to my geographer status, called The Place Where Tomorrow Shines the Brightest. So, sort of thinking of hope in its relationship to place. Clawing my way through earth on all fours, lost between the surface and core, a droplet of sun, a glimmer of sky, my hatchling drawn to the luminous shore. Thought I'd break out into the open, I'd be overlooking a glittering ocean, standing on the edge of white crystalline cliffs, stiff winds, a sip of ambrosia. I was wrong, I was wrong. I was mistaking a trick of the light for the place where tomorrow shines the brightest. I was mistaking a trick of the light for the place where tomorrow shines the brightest. Unmoored and storm-tossed in a morass of desire, as irrepressible as ancient Greek fire, it crumbles to sand. I love my eyes that float back into my mundane quagmire. I had felt the filling of the sails, the lift of the hull, breaching the waves. A burst of speed carried me forward, farther in moments than I'd moved for days. Now it hurts, now it hurts. I must erase all memory from sight of the place where tomorrow shines the brightest. I must erase all memory from sight of the place where tomorrow shines the brightest. When I'm with you, I like myself best. Want to feel your pleasure under my fingertips. Now you're a galaxy overtaking my cosmic horizon. Time is cruel, time heals our wounds. Its measurement seems so crude. It's running out, it's wasted now. Where does it go when it eventually moves? There's a universe inside us both. There's the universe we share. I wish I could synchronize them all, or learn somehow not to care. I want to go back, I want to go back and retrace my steps and bridge the divide with the place where tomorrow shines the brightest. Awake in the morning with you at my side, in the place where tomorrow shines the brightest. The place where tomorrow shines the brightest. The place where tomorrow shines brightest.
Lovely.
And to conclude with the songs from the EP, you're getting the full suite here. It is my latest release, although by Spotify standards it is somewhat stale at this point, verging on that 1 month mark where...
But who cares about them?
Yes.
It's new to anyone who hasn't heard it yet.
That's
how
matters
I think of it.
most. Yes. Anyway, we can talk about it more in a sec, but this is my ode to my favorite Doctor Who React streamer. It's called When It Gets Dark. She shares gossip, the weather, and laments her split ends as she talks to the camera like an old friend. Then sums up her thoughts on the ongoing story arc. She loves it when it gets dark. She's determined to avoid any and all spoilers as she predicts the plot points of passe pot boilers. Warm slow to new faces, but mourns when they depart. She loves it when it gets dark. If there's a grisly murder, a giant rat stalk the sewer, she's bubbly and diffusive, and though answers are elusive, she becomes intrigued. Yes, she becomes intrigued. How she adores those handsome young men on her screen. Their charm, their sweetness, and yes, their physique, like figures out of myth or the lives of Plutarch. And she loves it when it gets dark.
Excellent. Now, I haven't watched Doctor Who in quite a while, so I'm a little bit out of the loop. But my wife recently told me she watched an episode of the most recent season where they go back in time and hear the Beatles record, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Which gave me a kick.
Well, that one, the god of music has decided to steal music for some reason. And so, yes, as a result of this chicanery, as part, all music sucks and the Beatles are not good, and it's up to the Doctor and his companion to restore music. So it got an interesting performance by Jink Monsoon as this character, the Maestro, which is sort of a larger-than-life villain.
Well, it's Jinx Monsoon. It's got to be larger than life.
Yes. Crawls out of a piano and uses a tuning fork to hone in on the Doctor. It's great stuff.
Great, yeah.
But in this case, I was making some allusions to some older episodes, but it's also a little bit of a, general, shall we say, cinema verite look at the Mobius strip of React content. And because, it's sort of a ridiculous thing, though. If you look at YouTube, the proliferation of number of people that have React channels of varying quality is just kind of insane. But, the idea that you watch somebody else watching something, there is, an element of nostalgia. You get to sort of look back and see through somebody else's eyes this, in sort of a vicarious way, their first time reacting to your favorite moments and that sort of thing.
Right.
But then there's, that whole aspect of the parasocial relationship that is going on there, because, you have sort of a parasocial relationship with them, but they also have that which they're developing with the characters that they're watching, as well as
It's very meta.
the audience, because there's sort of this aspect of as if they're developing a relationship with you, and so I think the best React streamers are the most entertaining ones, which I guess it sort of depends on your point of view and that sort of thing, but they sort of engage with the audience in a way as if it's this sort of it's sort of like having an imaginary friend.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, that is the concluding track, and there's a clarinet on that, which gives it that sort of nice dark texture. Apparently, Noel and Felipe came across the clarinet while they were wandering the streets of Berkeley. Felipe started picking it up and playing around with it. I mean, it's not him on the recording. He didn't develop skill enough, but they couldn't resist adding that timbre to the whole thing. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the whole thing out. I've been, trying the various ways of getting attention, getting
in this attention economy. Speaking of streamers and reactions and YouTube and all that.
Yeah, this is the first track I've ever gotten 10,000 plays on.
Mazel tov.
But that is just owing to the various vagaries and vicissitudes of getting on whatever playlist.
Right. Yeah.
And so
it feels kind of like almost separated from the real world. I mean, it is separated from the real world, right?
I mean, well,
people are listening to it. You think somewhere, maybe Brazil, Finland, Sweden, wherever.
Well, this happens to be a Brazilian curated playlist, but the most of the playlists have been getting out of Germany and Turkey. For some reason, the number of plays goes up on the weekend, which is sort of unusual from my experience. And I've been getting Shazams too, which is
that's interesting.
So my working theory is that playlist was being played in a lot of cafes.
Yeah, that's a good place to be.
Because I also wasn't getting very many saves, which wasn't helping the algorithm any. But
for sure.
Algorithms, what are you going to do?
Be ruled by them is the answer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, us puny humans here.
Yes, we are at their mercy, whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
So, anyways, anything?
Well, don't worry, no algorithms here, KXSF. It's all volunteers. Making their shows. Even our automation is just we're rebroadcasting somebody who previously live chose those songs or those things to do. So you're in a safe haven. The algorithm can't enter here.
Okay. All right. That feels lovely. So is there anything else you wanted to talk about or any questions you had?
Let's see here. Well, I want to make sure you get time for you have 3 songs left, it looks like. From your set list, which thank you. It's always very helpful when people bring those in. So let's go through a few of those and make sure we get through them. And then if I have more questions at the end, we'll ask then.
That sounds great. So I'm going to dip back in time a little bit to a previous album for some of these next selections. They'll also be part of my set on May 10th with Rue and Riley. And whatever musicians I end up rounding up. That's another story. We won't get into that.
Been there.
Anyway, but this is a song that is from my album Alien from an Alternate Earth, and it is about a real place. It's called Ode to the Wild Horse Cafe. At a truck stop diner outside King City, she's sprinkling sparkles on unicorn lattes. There's a little bit of magic in the middle of nowhere. So glad she decided to share. The coconut cream pies with the whipped cream piled high. I'm contented just to pop by. This little bit of magic in the middle of nowhere. So glad she decided to share. Is she content just to be that? Does it ever get to be little old hat, a little old hat. Background in the daytime TV, courtroom soap operas and Jeopardy, and this little bit of magic in the middle of nowhere. So glad she decided to share. First got a taste while getting a lift from Nina, who knows it from many a trip. It's this little bit of magic in the middle of nowhere. So glad she decided to share. Is this trip worth it? It has its moments. Got me out of the city. I'd call that a bonus. I'd call that a bonus. Pass her off ramp on the way to a winery. I've got a gig tonight, but I'm playing for free. It's this little bit of magic in the middle of nowhere. Reminds me why I'm going there. Strolling through Soma, I found this brand new toy. This tune I'm composing brings me such joy. It's a little bit of magic. It's come out of nowhere. So glad to be able to share. So glad to be able to share. So glad to be able to share. In the luscious brushstrokes of a candied sunset, the starkest black night at its apex, or the dissipating mode, some fresh, hazy morn, whatever witchcraft you happen to be brewing, spot moonshine's gentle mewing, meow. It's the totality of the eclipse you're pining for. Oh, Braveheart, Luna, Braveheart, Luna, brave, brave heart. Braveheart, Luna, Braveheart, Luna, brave, brave heart. For all the face shifts you must learn to endure, those terrors to which you're inured, the worst of which must surely be the wolf's lonely howl. At least there's the watery shimmers, and the skyline's pallid glimmers, and the enrapturing lethal silence of the wing flaps of an owl. Oh, Braveheart, Luna, Braveheart, Luna, brave, brave heart. Braveheart, Luna, Braveheart, Luna, brave, brave heart. Oh, it's okay for you to cry. It's okay to cry sometimes. Just know who's on your side. No matter how dark it may seem, may seem, may seem. La da 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 da. La da da da. Oh, Braveheart, Luna, Braveheart, Luna, brave, brave heart. Braveheart, Luna, Braveheart, Luna, brave, brave heart. Brave, brave heart. I'm going to sing you a song now about a girl. Girl's tall, and presumably, she is in love, because in what I can only describe as a moment of pure inspiration on the bus, this girl was standing over me. I had this thought that I should write a song called Tall Girls in Love. Betsy Ann can't find dresses in her size. None of the boys will dance with her because of her height. But when she's with me, even I can see tall girls also fall in love. All the boys are complaining. They gotta look up to see her eyes. She gets tired of their excuses and their little white lies. But when she's with me, even I can see tall girls also fall in But when she's with me, even I can see tall girls also fall in love. People give me a hard time because of my heavy size. Can't seem to hold a conversation no matter how hard I try. But when she's with me, even I'll concede. Shy boys might just fall in love with you.
All right. If you're just joining us, you've been hearing E.G. Phillips, sometimes known as Ducks with Pants. Sometimes. This is KXSF Live. This is your source for local live music on the radio in San Francisco. And before we go into a couple more questions with E.G., I just wanted to let you know what we have coming up. Next week, we have Lonely Dingo coming on the program, another acoustic songwriter deal. I think. Actually, he might bring the band. I'll have to double check if he's responded about that. But at least he will be there. So next week, Lonely Dingo on May 11th. Following that, we have Miles Gordon, another singer-songwriter, who actually, I believe, participated in one of your Bazaar Cafe residency shows
he
recently.
Played in part of my January show in our country eras.
Ah, yes, of course. Miles is a member of Country Risque, but is also releasing, I believe, some solo songs, and certainly playing a show with a more psychedelic rock bent on May 25th, which is, I believe, why he's coming on the 18th. That said, on May 25th, we also have a show, a live act here on the radio. That's Dawn in the Dark. That's a husband and wife duo out of Pacifica? No, somewhere else. Somewhere in the Bay. But they make good music. So, and then I will quickly run through. Ron Cat Spearman of Parliament Funkadelic will be here on May 1st, or June 1st. Then Project Haze on the 8th of June. And 15th, we'll be taking it off. We'll be broadcasting live from the North Beach Festival.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then we'll finish out May with Grublin on I keep saying May. On June 22nd. And May Powell on June 29th. All right. That ends my duties here to the continuance of the show. So let's talk a little bit more about your music. You mentioned before EG Fest. Want to tell the listeners what that is?
So yes, some 10 years ago almost, I got into my head that, it would be really nice if I could, I guess, well, as a songwriter, one's ambition is to have other songwriters and other performers play your songs. And I was thinking a bit about the Bob Dylan 30th anniversary concert, which even at that point was almost 30 years old, where you had all sorts of performers, Neil Young, Lou Reed, Sean Colvin, that crowd, all performing Bob Dylan songs. And I thought, I wonder if I used the occasion of my birthday as an excuse to ask my fellow San Francisco musicians if they would be willing to learn one of my songs and play it, because, it's my birthday, and that's the sort of gift that musicians can afford. It's within their budgetary parameters.
Right.
And it seemed like kind of a crazy idea. And I wasn't exactly sure how to go about doing it, but somehow I've managed to do it 8 times. And in fact, we are on basically now is EG Fest recruiting season, where I have to start asking folks, hey, would you like to play one of my songs? And because as it turns out, it is not actually such an ego trip as one might imagine. It is actually quite humbling to find out how many people in late August do not have time to come play one of your songs for your birthday.
Right.
And so you have to start planting the seeds early and hope they eventually germinate. But it's actually been quite a lot of fun. I'm working on getting the artwork done now. See how that goes, but always try and have an ever-increasing number of ducks for the number of EG Fest it is. We did have to take a break because, reasons one year, so it's only mostly annual, which I do my best. But yeah, so these days we just do it at Bazaar Cafe and the back garden there, which is really lovely, and there is that 2 to 3 hour window in the summer where it's actually pretty nice. And although Outside Lands has decided to take the natural weekend as their own for this time to which to hold such a festival, I have successfully managed to do this. This will be EG Fest 9, and people have a good time, and it keeps happening, and it sort of amazes me. But people come out and give their own spins on the songs. Your host, Mitch Rocket, has played a song and has been an EG Fest participant.
I was going to say, I did it a couple of years ago, and it was fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Also cool to hear your songs through a lot of different genre lenses and different voices.
Yeah, no, people
Brings
do.
out different things in the songs.
It's great because, people give their own spin on it. Sometimes they add verses. I've had people reharmonize things. Got a minor key version of the Albatross song one time by The
cool.
Ringer, who was just back in town recently. And, cavalcade of folks have come through and done different songs. Some have even gone so far as to record their versions, which has been quite nice. Sean Byron did his version of Lighthouse at the Edge of the World, and Ken Newman did his version of the Fish song. And, to the extent it sort of feels obligatory to do it, and it is a fair amount of work to
Right, you've gotten yourself into this now. You've done it so many years in a row.
Yes. But, there are various traditions. The Rubber Duckies are a tradition. Each year we have a different theme of Rubber Ducky. Since it's EG Fest 9, we have Ninja Rubber Duckies this year. And I already have those on hand. I procure those early just in case there's some problem with. I had the worst trouble getting a hold of the Magic 8-Ball Rubber Duckies last year. But yeah, and then of course there's the cake. This was inspired by the fact that the second year of the fest, one of the groups, the Compliments, surprised me with a cake with the design of the flyer as the decoration.
Oh, that's nice.
Cake decoration technology has advanced considerably since my youth, and so you get a photo cake, and so that has become one of the traditions. And so we will have cake, we'll have Rubber Duckies, and we'll have all sorts of singer-songwriters singer-songwriters, hopefully on a very nice day in late August, and probably a Sunday. So yeah.
Do you have the date for that? As we're coming to our last 30 seconds on the airwaves here.
I'm gonna guess it's the third weekend of August and Sunday. I got to lock that down, but yes, and it's EG Fest with a PH because we got to be consistent with the branding, of course. But it's been lovely being here today, Mitch.
Yes, thank you. Well, this is KXSF LP San Francisco. We're still streaming online even after the hour hits here, so you can check us out there, KXSF.fm. And now we are purely an internet radio station. We have metamorphized, even though nothing seems to have changed in the room. Everything has changed, truly. Well, I think actually it's a perfect transition. I'm going to play the song that I covered of yours off of the computer here. And thank you so much, E.G. Phillips, for being with us.
Thank you, Mitch Rocket.